I call a Verne City Council meeting to order. I would like to welcome each and every one of you here on tax night. If we can all please stand together and salute our flag. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilmember Carter. Here. Councilmember Davis.
Here.
Councilmember Hepburn.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Rosales.
Here.
And Mayor Kendrick.
Here. We have a special group of people with us tonight. And a lot of people here because of them. Because starting this week, the 14th through the 20th, is the 2019 National Public Safety Communications Week. And I would like to ask our two chiefs, our captain, our police captain, to please come forward. And also, I would like to have all of our communications officers to please come forward at this time. This is a group of superstars, in my opinion. Come on over here, bud. I'd like to read a proclamation to these wonderful people. Emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services. When an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and the preservation of property. The safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of the information obtained from all of us as citizens who telephone the Laverne Emergency Communication Center. So anytime you dial 911 or put this number in your cell phone, 593-2531, they get it almost instantly. Public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. Public safety communicators are the single link to our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activity by radio, providing their information, and securing their safety. Public safety telecommunicators of the City of Laverne have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and the treatment of patients. Each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Therefore, it be resolved that the City Council of Laverne declares the week of April 14th through April 20th, 2019 to be National Public Safety Communications Week. But I would venture to say that I would like Laverne to honor these people all year long. So thank you very much for everything you do. Thank you for the supervision, the chiefs and so forth that we have. I don't know if one of you is the person, but a couple years ago they honored people in Laverne that had actually saved lives. And one of the, was it one of you? Was it one of you? Okay. This person stayed on the line and helped the people until emergency services got there, and they were instrumental in a life being saved. So that is the level that our telecommunications work at. They're under a lot of stress, and they help our firefighters, they help our police officers do everything for all of us. So if we can all please give them a hand. give this to you. Is there anything that any of you would like to tell us as citizens of Laverne?
Your pleasure. No, we just want to tell you thank you for all of your support. I know that we're kind of the ones that you guys never get to see, but we care about each and every one of the citizens of the city. And thank you for this honor. It's a big honor for us. We appreciate it.
I just want to add that, when they go through the hiring process, the last person they talk to is me. And I always tell them, is this the job you want? Because it's the hardest job in the department.
It is.
And so they don't only answer the phones, but when you see helicopters, when you see outside agencies helping us, they're the ones that are coordinating that. They're talking to our guys, they're talking to fire, they're talking to people on the phone. So they have to multitask and they have to stay calm. And we have professionals like them that do a great job, and our city is lucky to have them. So thank you.
I would also like to thank all of our police and fire personnel for being here to support this wonderful group of people. Got it? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to item 5, consent calendar. Do you have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Vote, please. Thank you. Move to item 6, public hearing. It's a time each year that we do a paramedic service evaluation for 2019, 2020 is this year.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Finance Manager Nathan Statham will come up and give that presentation for you.
Thank you. Nathan?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. This is the annual review of the paramedic services fee. It's required based on the ordinance, and it's just based on the CPI from October to the previous year's October of the ordinance. One of the key considerations here is whether the increase is represented in the costs involved. So as you can see, there are some cost breakdowns given here. They're estimated, but the projected estimated costs for total paramedic service fees is $2.5 million roughly. That consists of three components. One, the first component is the paramedic service fees. That's roughly $847,000 of that total. The other piece is the insurance billings for paramedic service fee. That's roughly $700,000 of it. And the remaining component of that, which is roughly $960,000, comes directly from general fund revenues itself. Given the calculation, this comes to a 3.5% increase in the CPI index that's required. So this increases the rate from $5.19 to $5.37, and that's the recommended change based on the CPI change. Are there any additional questions on that?
Questions of Nathan?
No?
Nope. Thank you. Thank you, Nathan. Hang close if somebody wants to ask a question later, if you would, please. This is a public hearing, so if there's anybody who would like to make a comment on this item, if you would please come to the podium.
I think it's pretty cheap insurance. I think you ought to go do $550. Pretty cheap insurance for saving you.
We can't, but thank you. Anybody else? Heather?
As someone who has used and utilized this wonderful service a couple times in the last 12 months, I endorse it. And these guys and these women are amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. Okay, we'll bring it back up here. If anybody else have any comments, okay, we'll bring it back up here. Tim?
I asked Nathan a few questions regarding the fee. My only, not a concern, but there is a $960,000 that comes from the general fund that pays the balance of that, and we had discussed that regarding there are other fees that come in to pay for that, funds and things like that. I think we had talked about that, Bob. Is that correct or incorrect? Or is it just a general fund item? It just pays out of the general fund for the balance?
Yeah, the general fund just takes on the, whatever doesn't come in through insurance billing as well as through this particular fee. There could be some smaller minor amounts, but generally the general fund picks up the predominant amount.
And I agree with Gary. I think it would be nice to increase it more so we got more coverage on it, less of the general fund, but unfortunately, thank you.
Yeah, no, I just want to say too, that's what's in our backup is $50,000 for our ambulance replacement charges too. So those are things we have to stay on top of. So most definitely, I support this.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
please.
I'm in full support of this. As folks have recognized, the limiting factor in this case is the consumer price index, which limits how much we can increase it. But with a nearly $1 million cap, it's nice to increase the fee as much as we can. So absolutely.
I think when you have the paramedic service that we have with advanced life support, the increases that we pass on to the residents of this city are every penny is well worth what we get. Until your loved one has been the focus of paramedic service with advanced life support, you just can't tell. I just can't tell you how important it is for us to have this paramedic unit.
I have one more, Don. I just want to make a comment too. I think I was remiss that we have some of the finest, if not the finest in any city of services from our police and fire. And we're all very fortunate for that because response is the most important thing and making sure we're on time to make sure that we save those people that are in distress. But I just wanted to push on that. We do have some of the finest services of any city. Thank you.
This, in the early to mid 1980s, the city council at that time made a decision to go to the voters and ask if they would be supportive of a small CPI. You can't go any higher than CPI, and the voters approved it wholeheartedly, that they were willing to pay a small amount each month or each 2 months on their water bill for this fee, and every year then we come to a public hearing to increase it. So that's what we're doing this year. I agree with Councilmember Hepburn. We have amazing people in our community providing services to us. You saw a lot of them in here tonight, honoring and thanking a group of telecommunicators that are amazing as well. So with that, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Vote please. Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 7, which is public comment. I have 2 speaker cards. If anybody would like to speak, you're welcome to do so on any item that is not on the agenda. We would encourage you to fill out a blue card. You can do it before or after you speak. You can just give it to the city clerk. And we'll start off with Joyce Kelly.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman, Joyce Kelly, 7235 Monterey Street, Verne. I have a couple of things I wanted to ask about, and it has to do with the building on Foothill and Wheeler. And I know we all know what an eyesore it is. But I'd like to know what has now transpired. I know we went from 3 people in that building to 1. And at the February 22nd City Council meeting, it was 1 business. 3 days later, we found out through the grapevine, whether it's true or not, that it's a Taco Bell. And so when the presentation was put on by the people that are taking that building, that talked to us about the 3, then the 1, did they always know it was going to be another fast food Taco Bell franchise type thing like that? Because I think the majority of the people don't want a Taco Bell across the street from a Del Taco with a Mexican restaurant in both of the supporting strip malls. I mean, that just seems to be a bit much. That's one thing. And so, again, it changed. That was one thing I wanted to ask about. But having anything go in there is good because that's an eyesore. The next question the next thing I want to bring to your attention and just to ask about, I know that the firemen's settlement was signed off on last week, and we're glad that that's over with. However, if I look back historically, and I know where there was a time here at City Council meeting, I discussed the timeline of when the events took place with respect to the Firemen's Association. And May 8th of 2017, so almost 2 years ago, there was a vote of no confidence in Chief Jankowski. And with respect to equipment facilities, so we spent almost 2 years in litigation, at least 1.5 years in litigation with respect to this case. Costs, expenses, a divide in the community because of it, which was not good for us, not good for the city of Laverne, not good for the firemen, not good for anybody, quite frankly. And so now it's settled and it's done, but what has been done to correct the issues? The vote of no confidence with respect to equipment and facilities, the retaliation that was going on, the still having Chief Jankowski in there, what has been done, because we are literally coming up on the 2 years of when that first issue came up, and it's been a horrific 2 years. Thank you.
Okay. You, Kelly.
Hi, Hugh Kelly, Monterey Street. Sorry to inflict you again on my voice.
Glad it's
First
good
off, a compliment. I saw the guys cutting the grass down at the aforementioned vacant building on Wheeler and Foothill. That was nice to see. Second, reference to firefighters. I know that you've done and settled with them, but I feel that they're united. I really don't see any team building that needs to go on with the fire department. I think that team building or whatever is not something that they need. Case in point, Coach Reed of Philadelphia Eagles is doing well for a long, long time. Then he hit a bad spot, and then he wasn't doing very well. He left. He went over to the Kansas City Chiefs. They're doing great now. So it's like that. You sometimes have to move to get to a better place. Some place that you, and I think that's probably true of the chief and the battalion commander. The team building expert is not needed by the fire department. I think the team building needs to happen here in City Hall. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak under? Pam?
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Okay, so I'm just going to make an announcement. Laverne Coalition of Concerned Citizens is a grassroots group of residents whose goal is to increase transparency and positive growth within the city by committing intentionally as a growing team of volunteers to encourage residents to be informed and active in making Laverne the best it can be. And we launched in October. We've got about 625 members. And we have a large group meeting the fourth Monday of each month with ongoing topics of discussion on items such as Sierra Laverne, the golf course, March 2020 elections for council and mayor, other city and neighborhood concerns. And this month, we have the mayor presenting the State of the City address, and we'll have time for Q&A. That is next Monday, the 22nd, at 7 p.m. Everyone is welcome. These monthly meetings, the fourth Monday of each month, are not exclusive for members. It's for anyone in the neighborhood, any Laverne residents. So invite your neighbors. And again, the meeting starts next Monday night at 7, and it's at the St. John's Episcopal Church, 4745 Wheeler Avenue, Laverne, in the conference hall. So I have just a few flyers, if anybody needs any information on it, and we'll look forward to next Monday night.
Pam,
Mhm.
thank you for telling me, because I offered, but it was never
Oh.
confirmed, so
We'll be there waiting for
I
you.
will be there now. So
Okay.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor and Council, I wanted to catch everybody here, especially our police chief and our captain, she's around the corner there. I want to personally thank for the Chamber of Commerce, the work that our RSVP did for us at the art sale. That was probably, in my opinion, one of the best organized. I mean, we were working at the gate when we came through. The traffic went south, they went out at the signal, and the RSVP took care of it. Now, I definitely want to thank Chief Paz and Colleen, I think, yeah, there she is. And I want to thank the two of them to make sure that they know that the RSVP really did a bang-up job. And I know we'll be coming back. We have a meeting tomorrow with the Chamber, and we'll be coming back and making an official one. But I wanted to catch, while both of you were here, and a few of the RSVP are here, I really want to thank them. To me, that's what Laverne is all about. Small town, take care of the small things, and the big things will handle themselves. So again, I want to thank you guys personally for doing the job. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak? Yes, sir. Just, no, you're next.
Oh, it's okay. Well, we've had problems at Emerald Park with the homeless, Gary, with the homeless camping out on the back side of it. Is there still going to be police going back there periodically to run them out of there?
I don't know that we'll be running them out, but we'll certainly be making contact.
We'll assist them
Yes.
to find other places.
So there will be an ongoing check back there?
If we receive a service call, we'll go out there.
Thank you.
Hi, Rick McGurk, 2358 Strickland Creek. I'm not sure what the plans are, but in the interest of transparency, I would really like to see the city council, the city manager, the city attorney get on the agenda to discuss the settlement with firefighters. $5 million plus whatever we've spent in attorney's fees. While nobody admitted any wrongdoing, it's hard to imagine spending $5 million if there wasn't some wrongdoing. So I think we deserve an explanation as to what happened and why decisions were made. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else like to speak?
Hello. My name is Susie Arundel Wheeler. I'm here today because I'm concerned about the implementation of the 5G small cell towers. Until now, mobile broadband networks have been designed to meet the needs of people, but 5G has been created with machines' needs in mind, the Internet of Things, which leave us vulnerable with privacy, security, and most importantly, our health. 5G small cell towers will include higher millimeter wave frequencies never before used for internet and telecommunication technology. These waves do not travel easily through buildings, so 5G will require millions of new cell towers. The wireless telecom industry is aggressively seeking to outfit lampposts and utility poles around the country with a wireless small cell antenna beaming hazardous radiation next to or into our homes 24/7. If we could see the pollution from the radio frequency radiation, it would look like smog that is everywhere all the time. Freedom of choice is a fundamental American right, but with these 5G small cell towers, we will not have a choice. Whether we use it or not, we will be exposed to it. It is important to know that the millimeter wave frequencies that will be used in 5G technology is already used by the Department of Defense crowd dispersal method called the active denial system. They direct the millimeter waves at the crowd to make their skin feel like it's burning. And the telecommunication industry wants to fill our atmosphere with this. According to the EMF Safety Network website, symptoms from exposure to 5G can include fatigue, headache, sleep problems, anxiety, heart problems, learning and memory disorders, ringing in the ears, and increased cancer risk. The World Health Organization, International Agency for Research on Cancer, classifies radio frequency radiation as a potential to be carcinogen. Many studies have found typical exposure to microwave radiation can cause disruption of normal brain development in fetuses, neurological and cognitive problems, heart abnormalities, and oxidative stress that can lead to the development of cancer. Populations especially at risk include pregnant women, children, the elderly, individuals with implanted medical devices, and those with pre-existing cardiac and neurological problems. National Toxicology Program studies found that exposure to high levels of radio frequency radiation, like using 2G and 3G cell phone, was associated with clear evidence of tumors in the heart and some evidence of tumors in the brain and adrenal glands of male rats. This study was on 2 and 3G, not 5G, which is much higher in radio frequency radiation. Furthermore, over 200 scientists and doctors from 35 countries have signed the appeal for 5G, asking a moratorium on the rollout of the 5th generation for telecommunication until potential hazards for human health and the environment have been fully investigated by scientists independent from the industry. Brussels became the first major city to halt 5G due to health effects. Environmental Minister Celine Fremont stated, "I cannot welcome such technology if the radiation standards, which must protect the citizens, are not respected, 5G or not. These people of Brussels are not guinea pigs whose health I can sell at a profit. We cannot leave anything to doubt." While Brussels becomes the first major international city to block 5G, dozens of local governments have passed legislation to prevent or restrict 5G rollouts due to health effects. Urgency ordinances have been filed for reasons such as health, location, aesthetics, and more. I am here today asking the City Council to please enact an ordinance so the city could keep their control regarding the location of the cell towers. We need an ordinance to keep the towers away from residential areas, parks, and schools. Also keep them at least 2,000 feet apart from one another. Verizon CEO Lowell McAdams stated that 4G and 5G antennas will work from 3,000 feet away on macro towers. Also, make certain that testing is done so that the radio frequency radiation does not exceed the exposure limit set by the government. And one last thing to note is that these small cell towers are not very small. They are aesthetically unappealing and will lower property values. Research indicates that 90% of home buyers and renters are less interested in properties near cell towers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, Rick Bowen. First of all, I'd like to say it's great to see the accolades for the dispatch and the fire and the police. It'd be great if we did that all year from everywhere. First of all, I wanted to congratulate the firefighters on their agreement with the city. Apparently, based on the experience you guys have gone through for the last year and a half, you deserve lots of kudos for your perseverance and your restraint. It does seem that you are a team already. For the people that aren't up to date on the time frame, I'd just like to go to the following. As as Joyce indicated, May 2017, almost 2 years ago, vote of no confidence was given to the city by the majority, I believe 27 or 28 of the firefighters. Apparently, nothing was done by the city in response to that. 7 months later, the first lawsuit filed in December of 2017. If settled then, apparently it would cost less than $1 million. But nothing was done by the city. Was this based on the attorney's advice? Was it the city manager's advice to do nothing? I think those questions should be asked and answered. Within a year, the potentially illegal videos, photos, and secret notes were discovered during the discovery phase of that lawsuit. Based on that finding, December of 2018, another lawsuit was filed. This time the city exposure was $47 million, according to the fact that each violation was potentially $25,000. There was over 1,900 pieces of evidence. $47 million exposure to the city. What was done by the city? Nothing. The chief and the DC at that time, still on the payroll. Now the city finally files for, or settles for $5.5 million. But nobody wants to take responsibility. City says they won their day in court. You had your day in court. The one day you were there, you settled for $5.5 million. You had an opportunity to show that the chief and the battalion chief did not affect these people's lives, but you chose not to. You chose to settle. Anybody that's ever had a case or a lawsuit knows that when you settle, you're afraid of a bigger settlement down the road. The city council, the city manager, the city attorney should personally apologize to each and every firefighter and every other citizen for allowing this situation to happen in the first place. And remember, all of this happened because the firefighters had the audacity to support a candidate other than a sitting mayor in an open, legal election. The most treasured right given to every American. I can only hope the root cause of this lawsuit cannot and will not be repeated. Question, where's the chief? Payroll or disability? And by the way, what's a 4850? I looked into compensation, the Workman's Comp Act, and that came up, and I don't know what it is. I was told he's on the payroll. How about the BC? Where's he? Payroll or disability? Are we paying two people to stay home to do nothing to the tune of about $400,000 a year? Why weren't they fired? As far as the council, city manager, and city attorney is concerned, shame on you all. You were aware of the no confidence vote and did nothing. It appears you allowed the city manager to do nothing. You should have been aware of the multi-thousands of dollars of expenses that were authorized by the city HR person, J.R. Reynolds. All this supported by the city manager to pay to investigate the firefighters. Not the chief, but the firefighters. Absolutely nothing found during those investigations. And this is all documented, by the way, in depositions. So if anybody wants to know where it came from, it's in writing. I ask you to read them. This is a great city. I want it to stay that way. I ask council to make bold moves in getting the city back to its full glory. Take the following action now. Rescind 1851 and 1852. Get the entire council back to work. not selected committees of 2 reporting to city manager and city attorney. Find a new city attorney. His contract is up. He's been here 28 years. Thank him for his past 28 years of service. Give him a plaque. Name a city bench for him somewhere. Do whatever you have to, but get someone new with good, solid legal advice. Lastly, address the lies, and I hate to use that word, told by the city manager, again, documented in minutes, depositions, and statements to news agencies. Fire him for cause. Do not give him severance pay. Someone stand up for us, the citizens. Please, make a motion. If you don't, we will find people that will. And by the way, just not 6 or 7. As Pam just indicated, 625 people has voiced their opinion that they want to see something happen. So just be aware of that in the future. Thank you very much.
Anybody else like to address? Tom?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Just a quick reminder, today is April 15th and tax day, the day we all know and dread. But it is also the halfway point between the beginning and the end of National Organ Donation Awareness Month. So if you all would please remember to check that box. Just this weekend, I have a close friend whose granddaughter received a heart because of that, and I also have a personal friend who was killed tragically in a motorcycle accident, who was able to donate over 60 different components to save other lives. So that little check mark on your driver's license and your DMV box really is important. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Anybody else like to address the city council? Okay, we will move to council comments, conferences, meetings, reports. Tim?
You want to go that way? I've got a few and I just
Go
want
ahead.
to double step.
That's okay, you can start.
This weekend on Foothill Terrace Emergency Preparedness Responders on Saturday the 13th over at Foothill Terrace. I was amazed. I walked in just thinking, okay, this is emergency preparedness. I've been there before, but they have multiple connexes, the hallways that have cots, generators. They have a pet connex, which has for pet emergencies. They have portable toilets. They have potable water. They have drinking water. They have first aid supplies. Just a list of. And I brought them in. They have emergency kit checklists, which they gave out. American Red Cross. It kind of gives you like 21 weeks, 21 days as far as what you need to survive, and then also checklist for emergency. It's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen, and are you prepared? I stuck a stack over by the front door, or by the table over there. So please pick these up. They're very interesting. But just Rick Rivera, he's a retired Alhambra police captain. He's the park committee chairperson, and just a list of the people that run the organization there. Dave Oakey, retired Navy contractor, equipment supply manager. Chris Stokett, retired Navy communications, computer support. These are all on the board for the emergency preparedness at Foothill Terrace. It's just amazing. Marty Moreno, retired Army, emergency golf cart responder leader. Teresa Grajeda, retired Army RN, medical unit. Vicki Anderson, retired medical unit responder. Mimi Rivera, Ross manager, animal rescue shelter. Fan Moreno, pharmacy tech secretary. Carol Carbone, treasurer. Mary Bartucci, she's a ham operator, and she's on the Laverne. She's actually
Lasers.
Yeah, lasers. And so it was just amazing. And also Kathy Newland and Joe Wetton were also there. They had hot dogs. They fed everybody. But I'm telling you, as a secondary for our first responders, that we have a major emergency, they're prepared to assist our emergency responders because they're kind of an island out there, but they can also have ancillary outside the neighborhoods to assist. And I'm telling you, I was so impressed. And they do need some things for their neighborhood, so if anybody has, just get me and I'll get you in touch with Rick Rivera out there. But they have basically an org chart, how it works, their emergency response team, they've got paperwork, golf cart response agenda. They have maps of stations of where the people go. It's just, I mean, I was just amazed. And kudos to all of them. They're very prepared, and so that one and that one. And then also this week was General Assembly at the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, which was Wednesday. It's basically, we're part of it as a city. There's 30 cities, 3 water municipalities, and 3 municipalities as far as county. And they had speakers from all over regarding just all sorts of different, the fiber optics network, the W for the new water safety programs. They had speakers on sustainability, homelessness, mobility with the new, we're gonna have a bike share program that's part of it, which was really amazing, but that was really cool. Also, we have coming up on May 20th, let's go first with the San Dimas Educational Foundation, which is the golf tournament on April 26th. They still need people to sign up. They're having some issues. They need to fill this spot. So if anybody needs anything, please contact the city. I think we have it on our website, don't we? Do we have this on our website?
I'm not sure, but we can certainly direct them.
Yeah, it's very important to support this. It's for the Ed Foundation, and it's basically to empower communities to support and celebrate student success in our public schools through the Verne City Council Educational Foundation. And another golf tournament is the Verne Police Officers Associates First Annual Charity Golf Tournament. And those proceeds go to the Verne Youth and Family Action Committee. So great things, guys. These are real important to support. I think they'll take any donations, I'm pretty sure. And then this Sunday we have the Easter egg hunt. Saturday, excuse me. Sunday's Easter, sorry. Did you want to talk on that one?
No, go ahead.
That's going to be Easter. We have it at Los Flores Park and also at Emerald Park at 9 o'clock, right?
No, I think that's 10, isn't it?
Well, I think we have our car show at 10, right?
Car show's at 9.
9?
Is it the opposite? Okay.
The opposite? So
Bill, is Bill here?
Easter egg hunt's.
Right?
Car show's at 9.
The car show's at 9. It
So the
always
Easter
has
egg hunt's at 10.
10 o'clock.
And if you miss it by 1 second, you're too late. And I'm not kidding.
If you're a kid.
If you're a kid. Let's see, there was a couple other things. I think that's, happy Easter, everyone. And please, also Historical Society, I put a folder there for their monthly events over there, so please grab them. Cool stuff going on, so help them out and join as a membership. And happy Easter.
Thank you. Charlie?
Happy Easter.
Mayor?
I guess I just want to make a couple comments. One is that, yes, the settlement was approved last week. Information will continue to collect and such, and a clearer picture will come about in due time. Be patient. Everything is not as it seems necessarily, so don't listen to the people who think they know right away. But I would also like to wish everybody a happy Easter this Sunday, and for those of you who celebrate Passover a week from Friday, may the peace, happiness, love, and blessings, and all the blessings from above be upon you. So, happy holidays.
Thank you, Mayor. Rob?
Good evening. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about. First, let me address the lawsuit from my perspective. We as a council want to move forward. We want to work with this community, work with our fire department, our police department, go back to understanding what the community wants. This past year, as I've said a couple times, has been a growing experience for all of us. And it's so nice to have an audience here. Like I said, there's been many years that we've only had 1 or 2 people in the audience, so it's nice to get input from everyone, the information that you share. What I had done, because everything with the lawsuit now is public record, I went myself onto the county records and got some of the documents that I wanted. And you may do the same thing. And if you want further information on that, you can contact our city to find out how you can do that. But please, if you want that information, please look into that, and those documents are there for you to see. And I think it would be an eye-opener for you to read it, not just hear some of these little comments, because it's so much more to it. As you know, any lawsuit, there's so much more to it. So that's what I want to say. I look forward to working together, and I truly believe as a community, as people, as parents, kids in our community, we can do so much more together. A couple of fun items for all of you is, as I said, Saturday, if you want to come down to the car show, it's an all-day event downtown. Come have lunch, bring your family. It's supposed to be beautiful weather, and spend some time there. And you'll run into friends that you haven't seen in a long time. But tomorrow night, I'll leave this here. I'll stay for a few minutes afterwards because I don't have copies, but it's out there. Gold Line, I'm bringing you an update. Tomorrow night in our community center.
Just hold for just a second.
Okay.
Okay. Our dispatchers are at work twice tonight. We have heard them, and sometimes they'll stay on the phone the entire time until the paramedics get to where they're going, just to help them in the process. Okay, Rob.
Okay, so tomorrow night in our community center here at 5:30 to 8:30, anytime in there you could come. The Gold Line is releasing the draft version of the supplemental EIR report, and so they want input on that. If you think of something more you'd like to see beyond that, they'll be there to talk to you and answer questions. And you can view the draft ahead of time on their website, and I'll stay here so you can write it down and get that from me, or just go onto Metro Gold Line. But that's very important. You want to find out what's going on, and if you come, that'll be good for you to give some input. But also on April 29th, in this room, we're going to have a study session from the Gold Line. So that's another good meeting for you to come to get your input and more information on that.
Just so we're clear, it won't be from the Gold Line, it'll be staff giving you our review of.
Oh, they're not coming?
They're not gonna be coming, they may be here just in the audience, but they're not the ones doing the presentation.
Thank you. But otherwise, have a wonderful Easter weekend and be safe.
Thank you. Just to piggyback on Councilmember Hepburn's at Foothill Terrace, we have a large group now. It's heading into 150 people throughout town that are CERT trained, which is Community Emergency Response Team, and we have a number of them at Foothill Terrace, along with their emergency group there. They're probably the beginning group in our city that started it, and if there's a disaster, that's where I'm heading. I mean, they're that far ahead.
Pretty safe.
And what's really amazing is the park owner, the people that own the land and so forth, have been proactive and have donated virtually everything to Foothill Terrace to make that place the safest it can be. So it's really, hence just a great opportunity for the residents to be involved in a really good thing. One comment, we've talked about the lawsuit, and last Thursday there was a comment made that we should have settled this a year and a half ago, and I will tell you that there was a tremendous amount of work going on around May 8th, even before and after, to get this thing settled and not have it move forward. The sad part is that not all the parties could come together. The interest wasn't there to do it until the court date was upon us. But like Robin said, it's in federal court, so if you go onto the federal court website, you can pull information. It's a lengthy document, but I think that you'll be very surprised that a lot of the information that you've heard may not be true. But please get the information. Please make your own judgment on this stuff. The main thing that we are interested in doing is moving forward as a city, working together for the residents. That's the most important group in this community, is our residents, and that's what we're here for. So, thank you very much.
And I have one more too.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say at the Foothill Terrace Emergency Preparedness Day. Jen and Jim Kesterson were there, they run the CERT, and they were wonderful. There are a number of CERT people there. Also, I talked to George May today, the Laverne Library Committee, Friends of the Laverne Library. They're having trouble filling those positions. There you are right there. And, you know, really the library is a precious thing for our community to have, and we really need to support that. So I know it's not a tremendous amount of time. Like any organization, it needs people in the background to facilitate the work and the collection of funds and treasure and things like that. So if anybody's interested, please contact George at the Laverne Library. He's got a few hopefuls, but nothing sound yet, so I think it's really important that we support that.
Thank you, Jim.
One other thing. This lawsuit has been a very difficult time for all of us, and including myself personally. I tried at many times to make this go away and come to some resolution quickly before it went to court to settle it, so we wouldn't have to spend millions of dollars. I'm not happy with the settlement. It's a tremendous amount of money and all the ancillary costs it costs to settle that. The FLSA monies, the overtime monies, the court cases, how much it costs for attorneys. I'm glad it's settled. There needs to be an end to things, so I'm glad that we can move forward. We have a fantastic fire department. Hopefully we can build and make it better, but it wasn't an easy thing to go through. And I suggest that you do read the depositions and you read what was in there. An informed body is a good body to make decisions on, not pieces and parts of things. The full facts of what's going on in the full depositions. But again, I'm glad it's over. It's a messy time for us, and we need to go move forward and move on. Thank you.
Robin.
Well, I looked over at Sam and Nick, and it made me remember what I did want to talk about. This past week, Wednesday, at Mi Ranchito, the police department did a tip-a-cop.
That's cool.
Yeah, we forgot to talk about it, yes, but it was wonderful. The fundraising from that event went to Special Olympics. And it was really nice to have the officers serve us, you know, and they brought, you know, the meals out.
They were working. They were
working hard.
Did you guys do well?
Yes. From what I heard, and I don't know if that's the final tally, it was about $2,500.
Oh man, that's great.
$2,500.
That's great. I don't think I've ever seen Mi Ranchito so busy either.
Well, and that's what they
packed.
told me, is that they have never had so many people there. So it was good for the business too, locally. So I want to thank our police department for taking the time to do that. A lot of officers that came out off duty that were there, and it was wonderful. Thank you for that. But they had two special kids there from the Special Olympics, a boy and a girl, and I had a chance to talk to both. My brother was Down syndrome and died 2 years ago. So it was really nice talking to them. And they talked about all the different, you know, the sports that they're able to do. They went around table to table and just thanked everybody for coming, and it was so touching. So, wonderful job.
Thank you. Now is the time that we're going to move into the adjournment time, and if anybody has an agenda this evening, you'll know that we are adjourning this meeting in honor of a pretty amazing guy, in my opinion, Tom Gay. His wife is here tonight, Heather. Thank you for being here. I was pretty surprised when you arrived. She's also the person that you clapped for that was the second person that spoke in favor of the paramedics tonight. So thank you very much, for Heather, for doing that. Tom was born in 1950 in October. I don't think he ever lived outside of Verne. In fact, I know he didn't because his wife just shook her head no. He might have spent a few nights away, because I saw some pictures at the funeral that were not in Laverne. There were some pretty special places. But Tom is the youngest of three. His brother was a year older than me. He was 2 years younger than I. A great athlete, probably the best athlete of the family. Was involved in all sports. But I want to, something that I remember Tom by more than anything else was something that I feel Tom did as good as anybody. And sometimes when you're a great athlete in high school, you are kind of on an ego trip. And Tom was never that. And through his dad, I think he learned two things as good as anybody could have learned. First was sportsmanship, and the second was be a team player. But it was the ability to Tom to talk to anybody, no matter how big or how small they were, or how insignificant that person thought they were. Tom could and would be their friend. One of the fun things, his dad owned the gas station down at the corner of what's now D and Bonita. At that time it was 4th Street. They lived on the corner of 7th and C, so all 3 kids walked to Roynan for kindergarten through 8th grade, no middle school then, and then on to Bonita High School. In 1967, Tom stood on the east side of D Street and watched the last scenes of The Graduate being filmed on the west side at the Methodist Church, which is fun. He was also a Boy Scout. He was a very active member of the Historical Society and was known as a Renaissance man. I would like to thank Mia. Where are you, Mia? There you are. Her mom is a very good friend of Heather and Tom's for kind of helping to work this thing through. I told her I was going to embarrass her, and that's okay. But some words that came out at the service. He was kind, he was personable, he liked everyone, he was helpful. And here's one that everybody said: he was a great listener, and not too many people are on that level with him. And he absolutely loved Laverne. And there's somebody that's sitting right beside Heather that's a 1st and 2nd grade teacher that I thought did as good as anybody in talking about Tom. And I took a picture, and you probably saw me fiddle with my phone, but I'm going to read this because I think it's one of the best statements I've ever heard at a funeral, and certainly one that we feel is appropriate in Tom Gay's passing. Death leaves a heartache no one can heal. Love leaves a memory no one can steal. It's an English proverb. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing it, allowing us to share it tonight, but thank you for sharing it. There was about 300 to 350 people at his service. I mean, it was a busy place and a fun place because there was a lot of nice things said about Tom. So Heather, I'm so sorry. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, and I just want to say that I'm the interloper. I'm from San Diego.
So is my wife, so.
And I came here because I was hired by Metro. Don't ask me about the Gold Line. Please, I've been dealing with that for 30 years and all the other 18 projects, and I've worked with Mr. Russi for so long. He's a good man. And I just fell in love with Laverne and the multi-generational, the networks that you all folks have here in this village. I don't know if you really know what a genuine, beautiful village you have. Yes, there are politics. There's always going to be politics. But I have lived in so many different counties. You're not listening, Chris. And I've lived in so many counties, and I can tell you there is not a place like Laverne. So please, concentrate on healing. Yeah. Concentrate on what we have that is so special here. Stop focusing on the divisions, please. God bless you all.
Thank you, Ken. And she's not going back to San Diego.
No.
This is home.
Yes.
We won't let her leave. Okay, on Monday the 29th at 4:30, there'll be a study session on the Gold Line. And our next scheduled city council meeting is on May 6th, and that's at 6:30 in these council chambers. And don't forget tomorrow night.
Mr. Mayor,
I'm sorry.
We do have, our next regular meeting will be preceded by a study session as well. It'll be on CIP and budget. It's not listed there, I apologize.
Okay, there'll be
It'll be noticed.
Okay, thank you.
That's the private sheet.
How much work have you done today?